Drum for the Song podcast.
So, hello everybody. Today is a new episode of Drum for the Song, and I've got a great guest for you today. It's Kob, who is a fellow Welshman like myself. How's it going, Kob?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. Thanks for agreeing to do it. And it's going to be a cool one. We've got some interesting things I want to talk to you about. I think you've got a fairly unique, view on being in a band, making a band bigger, using, online facilities and social media and stuff like that. DIY aspect, which is cool. So yeah, we'll I guess get onto that in a bit later. But for anyone who hasn't read the description, Kob is in a band called Punk Rock Factory, and essentially you play covers, punk rock covers, so in the punk rock style. There's lots of variety ranging from like cheesy 90s hits to, this is the whole Disney album you've done, full of all the classic Disney tunes. It's really well done, really well made, arranged and everything. So go check it out after or before finishing this podcast, really, so you know what we're talking about, and go and follow the guys on social media. But we'll talk about that in a bit. So first of all, Kob is the drummer of the band, obviously. We go back quite a long way from, I guess, the Welsh music scene. So let's talk a little bit how we know each other. For anyone that does listen, that might be aware of those bands or the bands we used to be in or used to go to shows. I used to be in a band called Straight Lines. Before that, I was in a band called Said Mike and another one called Squad. And I guess we played a few shows together over the years. So do you want to talk about some of the bands you were in for anyone that might be aware of them?
Yes, it was Carson Down when we were a lot younger, and that was my first. Oh, no, there was a band before that called Pothole, which is actually one of the members of Punk Rock Factory.
Oh, that's
cool.
And
then it was Carson Down, and then it was My Little Murder.
Yeah.
And then The Guns.
Yeah, that was it. So,
yeah,
quite a few bands. So anyone who's listening from South Wales, around our age, you might have seen Kob play before or heard some of his records. So yeah, we, I don't think we played together a huge amount, but there was definitely, a good 10, a good 5 to 10 shows or whatever.
Yeah.
I reckon. But yeah, it was cool. It was good times, and it's great that you're. Really good times.
Yeah.
And what's great is that you're still playing with some of those guys in those bands. So, or if all of them.
Oh yeah, so all of them. My Little Murder.
Yeah,
Benj in Pothole and My Little Murder as well.
Yeah,
and it was only Peej that. Yeah, I wasn't in a band with Peej, but I did actually session on his band's album when I was in the Guns. So when I was like 18, 19, I think. So I played on his first album, which is quite funny because they had a drummer. He couldn't make it or something, Alex was recording him and he said, why don't you just play drums on it? So I played drums on it and they were like, our drummer can't play that now. So they got rid of him.
Oh, wow.
Or something like that. And they were spending ages trying to find somebody else. Good laugh playing on that though.
Tough. That's tough. Yeah, pretty tricky. But that's cool. I just thought I'd just kind of briefly explain to the listeners how we kind of know each other. Obviously, we've been in touch online since then. We had a good time out in Barcelona that one time.
That was cool.
Yeah.
G. Simmons walking past and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I was going to ask you in a bit, but one of your favorite bands is Kiss. Big Kiss band. So not only you obviously into your punk rock. Yeah, you're obviously into your punk rock, but you're not exclusively a punk rocker.
Oh, not at all. No. Like I grew up loving all the punk rock and stuff, but yeah, it's so much more than that. Like I listen to a lot of pop and stuff like that. I see music as so much more. When I was younger, it was just like Green Day sold out, Blink sold out and stuff. Whereas now I'm like, no, music is so much more than that. And I listen to everything. But yeah, I love Kiss. And not just for the music. I love how it's so much of a business and how much of a genius Gene is and everything. And
I guess he's been a bit of an inspiration to you, to what you're doing now and what you have done. I know with other bands, working with other bands, quite inspiring, really. And he's, incredibly successful no matter what people say about him. He can be quite controversial at times, I suppose.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he's got stack loads of money.
Yeah. From doing something.
Yeah, he's doing something right. That's cool, man. And so, you mentioned a few bands there. What were so when you got into drumming originally, how old were you? How did that start? What kind of made you want to play the drums, I suppose?
So I was maybe I was like 14, 15, and they started doing drum lessons in school. I started having drum lessons and started listening at the same time to bands like Blink and Green Day and Offspring and Sum 41 and stuff like that. But I didn't last long with drum lessons at all. I really butted heads with a drum teacher and just left. But then I ended up buying a really cheap kit and just pretty much taught myself then. And I really regret that now because I'm useless at reading. No, I still can't tune. Like, I feel as a drummer, I'm terrible. I like playing and I like going mad, but I don't really think of myself as a drummer so much of the time because people talk about drums and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, I'm still working out now, like the kind of things that I like and the tunings I like and stuff like that, and which is pretty wild.
That's pretty wild. And I can kind of empathize with that because I feel similar to some degree, even though I guess I have been playing drums all my life. I was never taught as well. At the start, I was kind of self-taught. I never had a drum lesson until I was about 25 or something like that, So all of those things, all the kind of rudiments and stuff like that, no one ever taught me those.
Yeah.
Which are generally the things that a lot of drummers start off with and kind of understand. And like, the reading side of it, I'm really slow, if barely at all I can do it, because I haven't really done it in practice or consistently enough. I completely understand what you mean. But like listening to you, like people, like I've listened to your albums the last couple of days, and it sounds class. People don't realize that you can sound well. You are a very good drummer, but it doesn't mean it doesn't mean all the theory side of things. It doesn't mean you don't have to be able to read music. You don't have to know what a triple flammadiddle is or whatever that is. I don't think that even exists, but I made it up. But you can still play at a high level without doing those things. Obviously, in some ways it does help. Well, in a lot of ways, I'm sure it does help knowing all those things, but it's not essential.
Like I'm trying to do it now. Like, I'm doing little bits of Drumeo and I've got a practice pad in the house and I'm really sitting there trying to work on certain things. But I think I just get a bit bored with the drum lesson side of it. I sit there and I'm like, I'm 5 minutes in and I'm like, sod this. I'm just going to play along to some Maiden or something like that. Yeah,
I kind of feel the same sometimes when I've tried sticking a YouTube video on. There's a few I've kind of stuck at. But what I tend to find, which is really annoying, no matter how long I practiced something over and over again, unless I'm doing it every day, which I never do because I never put enough time aside to practice enough, I'll just forget it then by the next week or completely forget what I did. And I don't know if that's an age thing or it's just because I'm not practicing enough or a combination of both. But yes, it is annoying. And I think I kind of do wish I kind of did that when I was younger, but then we didn't have YouTube and free, all this free information and free lessons, just for free on your phone, which is amazing for anyone young out there. Just take advantage of it as much as you can.
Damn right.
Yeah. And
I tell you one thing that's really changed the game for me, and I wish I could have had when I was younger, is the EAD, the Yamaha thing.
Yeah.
Man, that thing is just, I love it. Like, it's so good to just be able to plug my phone straight in. Like, I've got this amazing recording studio out in the garden. We do all of our recording there, all the mics, all the gear, but I still just use the EAD all the time. To be able to just plug it in and just do everything to come out with this little mic, like, that's got me playing like every night, to be fair. Like, I really got my drumming stamina up over the last year because of that. Like, I'll just play like an hour a night.
So I bought one of those very recently, right?
Oh yeah.
I haven't had, I know it sounds silly, I haven't had a chance to plug it in or anything yet or set it up. I bought it with the intention of getting around to maybe doing drum covers easily, decent sounding drum covers easily.
Yeah. To record, they sound terrible.
Do they?
Like, I put up a couple of Instagram videos and I've really done everything I can to make it work. It sounds like it's coming out of a cardboard box. But as far as you being able to play over stuff, because I bought it with the same intention as well. But every time I do it, and it's cool that you can record on your phone, you can adjust the levels and stuff, but it's never, it's not the kind of quality you're going to want for YouTube or anything like that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
That is a shame. But yeah, I don't have the studio like that you have, and I generally play my electric kit, so I can put music through the headphones, which sounds good. But obviously, I'm playing an electric kit, not a real kit. I can't really quite play full volume, you know. Where I've got my kit at the moment, it's in like a garden building, but it's not a soundproof garden building. You know what I mean? So I can't kind of go full pelt, but it's cool for like little, just practicing something something that feels real, or just for a quick little video. I don't mind filming as long as I'm not editing the hell out of it. But yeah. I kind of thought one of those EAD 10s would be useful at some point, so I thought I'd pick one up because I think they were quite hard to get hold of for a while.
Were they?
Well, they sold out everywhere, it seems. So I saw one and I was like, oh, I'll snap that up. At the time, I guess I could afford it at the time, so I thought, let's go for it. But yeah, I guess I just need to take it down my brother's studio one day and see what I can do with it. Really,
you'll probably play around with it, and you might even get something sounding wicked. But I think maybe in that studio, I kind of listen back to it and I think, why don't I just take 5, set up Logic, plug in all the mics, and
and I can't do that because number one, I don't know how to do that, and I don't want to. Well, the idea was I didn't want to rely on my brother Todd to do drum recording videos for me. I kind of wanted to be able to, if I wanted to, go down there, even though they wouldn't sound as good, just be a bit self-sufficient and kind of do it. Or one day, you know, have my own place somewhere, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, that's cool. So yeah, well, apart from Kiss, then was there any other kind of like big rock or heavy metal bands? You mentioned Iron Maiden.
Yeah, Kiss, Motley Crue, Maiden, stuff like that. Yeah, Bon Jovi.
Oh, nice.
Just kind of feel like kind of cheesy cock rock pop. Nothing too ridiculous, but yeah, just love like Skid Row, Motley Crue, Kiss, stuff like that.
Awesome. No, that's great, man.
Yeah, Rush as well, obviously. Rush.
Oh, Rush. Yeah, that's one band I've never really got into.
To be fair, I've only drilled in the last, say, 2 years, something like that. But, oh man, the tunes, absolute belters.
Right, I'll have to do it. I know. I just love
how one of the things with Rush that blows my mind, especially as a drummer, is anyone that can make a song change to these crazy time signatures while this crowd that are not drummers can carry on playing and bob their heads and stuff. That's what always blew my mind about them. Whereas you'd listen to some crazy tech metal like Protest or something, and people would just fall over because of the time changes.
Yeah, I guess that is incredibly clever, and they've still got the melody, haven't they? And I've heard bits, and I'm sure I'll like that. Don't like the vocal too much, and I think that initially put me off a bit. But
I'll have to show you some of the more kind of typical poppy ones that really got me into it. So Limelight and stuff like that.
Yeah, send me some of those ones to get me started, and I'm sure I'll go from there. Yeah, cool. Yeah. As for like the punk bands you mentioned, I guess with pop punk bands that existed when we were younger. Yeah. Have you ever kind of gone back to the earlier punk bands? And do you have any preference, or you're not familiar with those kind of stuff, or?
Well, like more kind of punk rock stuff, like Ramones.
All the 70s kind of stuff.
I do like a fair bit of Ramones and stuff like that, and like Descendants and stuff like that. But I've never really been too much of that kind of side.
Yeah.
That kind of too old stuff. It's always been about the harmonies and the more kind of skate punk for me. And this is why sometimes I struggle a little bit with the fact that we're called Punk Rock Factory, because I know it's not really punk rock. It's more like pop punk factory. It's just something that's stuck. And to be honest, I never expected it to get to the point that it's at now, that we're kind of seeing. Because sometimes I'm like, shit, we're going to need to start calling ourselves PRF or something. But it hasn't really come up too much. Like a few times it has. And I'm like, ooh.
Well, have you had like a little bit of Trolls or anything? Is that what you mean? Or
a bit, yeah. More just like, this isn't punk rock and stuff. But we were kind of playing Disney, so...
But at the end of the day, it is within musically, it is within the punk rock realms, as in it has those traits. But yes, the pop punk, maybe more pop punk, but that is within pop punk is within the pop punk is within the punk rock kind of genre. So
That's how I feel. Punk rock is up here, and you've got skate punk, pop punk, and all these kind of different ones under and stuff. But
Yeah.
some people are just butthurt sometimes, and they just
Yeah. And I guess the bigger you get, unfortunately, the more kind of trolls that you'll get, because you'll be exposed to more trolls who are not happy with anything they ever see on the internet. So I guess you'll have to get used to it. Yeah, I guess you get people who like the Damned and things like that. This, like this is proper punk, and but yeah, I'm not overly familiar with the kind of old school bands myself either. But I was wondering what your kind of opinion was on it all. And there's always this American versus British punk war, but like I don't really have an opinion what was first and all that. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of listeners out there probably do. So, but unfortunately, we're not going to talk about that now because none of us know. No, but
I think Ramones is the extent of it, really. I do love a bit of Ramones, but never got into Sex Pistols. The Clash are awesome, but never been a huge fan. But yes, Ramones felt more kind of Green Day, almost kind of you couldn't say pop punk, but like they were a lot more pop with their kind of songs and songwriting and stuff on there.
Absolutely. So really tuneful, quite simple. Not, I guess, I lyrics wise, I probably haven't paid enough attention, but it seems fairly light-hearted. Not so much. Not so much like political and all that. And but what I've heard, I love, and we've covered a couple of songs with a band and all that, which is cool. So
you have
one, I suppose, one song, but Rockaway Beach is the song that we've covered, and that's a pretty good one. But yeah, man. So before I guess we talk more about Punk Rock Factory, one thing that I do know about yourself, and well, basically, I've described you as a bit of a social media expert. Would you say you were an expert? Or?
Yeah, I'd say so. That's kind of what I do as a job, really, and I've been doing that for a while now, probably about 7 years, maybe. And I've had to get freelance with a bunch of different bands and labels and stuff like that. Yeah, more so in the kind of advertising side now. Like I get brought in to kind of really help out with Facebook ads, campaigns, and stuff like that. But yeah, YouTube, socials, all of that really. It's the kind of broad strokes with all of it.
That's pretty cool. So you're saying you've been employed by other bands and record labels and things to actually conduct their marketing campaigns online. Yeah, that's just really interesting because I guess it's something. Well, from a personal point of view, from I guess our band that we kind of do ourselves, we've always found it really difficult. And whenever we've tried, we haven't had a lot of success with kind of I guess we really haven't done much of it, but it seems to be very difficult. It's not as easy as just plowing a load of money into it. You have to get everything correct. So I don't know if you have any, some basic tips for anyone out there or any guys in bands that have tried and maybe in a similar position to me and they haven't had much success.
The biggest mistake I always see, and I used to do it as well, is so say you want to run a campaign, you think as a band, you're going to say, right, we've got £250 to spend. The objective is we want to promote our new album and we want to reach people who are into Motorhead who are 40 plus and live in Germany or something like that. You think you know exactly where that audience is. So you put all that money into that and you sit back and watch what happens, and it doesn't really happen. Whereas what I kind of specialize in and what I tell everyone is you don't know who your ideal audience is. All that matters is the most important thing is you want to pay the cheapest cost per click. So what I would say is I would take £5 a day, send it out to what you thought was it. But then number two, I would do the same thing, duplicate it, but then send it to say fans of Motley Crue. Number 3, fans of Kiss. Number 4, people who are actually 18 plus and stuff. So basically make a load of variables. And then after, say, 3 days of doing that testing, Facebook will be able to tell you, oh, you thought it was actually number 1, but it's actually variable number 5. And it's actually 5 times cheaper. So then you put all your money into there. But each time you're just testing different variables. So in the same way that you split testing, that's what I call it, split testing with them, you're split testing your audience and your ages, then you also want to split test the creative. So the video that you're using or the copy that you're using or there's so many variables when it comes to ads. But what you want to do is just not assume that you know how your audience is going to react. So you got to throw everything into the machine and let it tell you. And then once you found it, then you kind of scale up your budgets and stuff. So it takes a lot of work, but you end up getting so much more for your money.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, really. And yeah, I guess you've just got to play around with it, and yeah, go with whatever. If you're on about Facebook specifically, I guess they're all fairly similar the way it works. With, like, I guess Google is a big one as well.
I don't touch Google. Like,
really?
I've
Okay.
done it sometimes for YouTube and stuff like that, but it just costs so much more in the long runs. And what I tend to see is Instagram stories. I can get my kind of 3p, 4p cost per click over to Spotify. And that's my end goal, is really to get the Spotify numbers up and followers and things like that. Right. So I tend to focus on, like, a lot of people will spread big on all these different platforms, but I'd rather just get the most bang for my buck and focus on, say, Instagram or something, or maybe a bit of Facebook and things like that.
Right. Okay. So you said Instagram story then?
Yeah.
Do you mean you can? I didn't even know you could promote Instagram stories.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Like, I think what it is, it seems to be, say you're scrolling through Facebook or you're scrolling through Instagram and you see an advert, you almost kind of go, oh, get off my feed, like I'm doing something. Whereas when you're scrolling through stories, it almost just seems to be this kind of, you're more receptive. And one of the big things I've seen is if you try and really sell somebody on an advert, like the new album from Phil Campbell, people just don't want to see it unless they're a real fan. Whereas if you can make that seem organic, so put a 15-second clip of your new music video, and then the objective is to send them to Spotify or to YouTube to watch the rest. If you can make it seem real and organic, like you're just not advertising, you're just putting up the video as a story, people click it so much more.
Right. Okay.
Price can be obscene difference. Like I have this argument all the time with clients where they're like, no, this is the advert. And I'm like, I'm telling you, this is not the advert. Just give me a music video and I'll show you. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, oh yeah, sorry, you're right. Yeah.
Wow. No, that's really kind of you to kind of share those tips, really. And yeah, I'll probably have a little play around myself whenever we've got something new to talk about. But do you have any advice about, if it's like a post, obviously not a story, the actual like wording used? Are there any little tricks for
ads now?
Yeah, for ads, like how long should they be, or should they be shorter? Should they have links? Should they not have links?
What I tend to do is just, you've got to kind of test stuff. It depends on the objective. So I always want to have something with a click in a link. So if I'm running an ad without a link, it's almost kind of pointless. I want to be building Instagram followers, so the link is going to the Instagram profile, or I want to be Spotify plays, so the link is out there. But there's no text on Instagram stories.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah.
You wouldn't have that anyway. On Instagram, standard ads, like feed ads, you only show the first 2 lines anyway. So It's only really Facebook that is relevant, and I think it only shows the first 3 lines on there anyway. But it kind of depends.
Okay.
But what I would say, though, is people are they want to throw all their money into ads. I know what I'm doing with ads because I've literally spent probably about £500,000 between all the clients over the last couple of years on ads.
It's insane.
And I would say, instead of, if you've got, say, £1,000 or even like 200 quid that you want to spend, I wouldn't say dump that on ads. I would say put that money together, possibly speak to somebody who can do some cheap videos for you and make a load of social content instead, because you get so much more back from it. Or at least if you are going to do it, do both. But yeah, I tend these days, like PRF, we're not running any ads. Like when the album comes out, we might spend like $5 a day just to kind of trickle it over. But I can get more response from the PRF content than I can off ads. And it's just because it resonates so well. And it's been kind of designed to go viral with a lot of it.
So just the organic content that you're posting every day, I presume you need to do it every day, don't you? I think to keep, as much as possible.
Yeah. When the album's out, I'll be doing it every day or at least every 2 days. But right now, it's kind of a balance and act of keeping us in people's faces, but because there's no real objective yet, as soon as the pre-save links go live for the album, which I'm expecting any day, really ramp up then.
Nice.
No, it'll be fans engaged,
of course.
Like photos, videos, everything. You've got to be doing it.
Yeah. So, I know. Like I 100% know our band are not the best at doing that. I'll admit that. I try and do as much as I can for the podcast, but like it's difficult because I'm not technically selling anything. like, I guess with what you said, you're just trying to get more followers. I guess I've never tried to direct people to other social platforms from Facebook or whatever. I guess that could be something I could try to grow the Instagram and the Twitter or whatever. But yeah, anything to do with.
Go on.
I was going to say, anytime I try.
With you. Go on. Sorry.
Oh, so I think we're having a little bit of a delay. But whenever I try and like push like a YouTube link, like Facebook really doesn't like that. What I've noticed, it really makes it difficult for me. They don't want you to go away to YouTube for some reason.
Yeah, that's true. It limits your reach when you do that. So with that, you want to be posting the video natively onto Facebook. Yeah. But one thing I was going to say, remember what I said to you the other day, and I think everyone is kind of guilty of this, is you've got to be so careful that you're not just selling to people. And people think that they're not selling to people, but when you're posting like your tour poster or something all the time, whether it's the album, then the tour poster, and then something else, it's almost like Instagram and Facebook see that and they start limiting your reach. Then you've got to start chucking in a photo, chucking up a video, giving things up for free, behind the scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
Studio and stuff like that.
No, yeah, I took that advice, and yeah, we'll have a chat to the guys soon and try and create some content. It's just a little bit difficult for us to kind of come up with that. Well, we come up with new content because we haven't been together in a room for ages. Because I guess because of the COVID thing, but now we can start kind of rehearsing and stuff. But yeah, that's really helpful. And anyone who's in a band or maybe I guess it's similar for anyone who's trying to push their drum page. I guess it's a similar kind of thing. If they've got like a drum Instagram, they're trying to push. So all the kind of same techniques involved in that. I know that's a big thing. Like with Instagram drummers, there's some massively popular Instagram drummers that are not in bands or anything, but they're really big on Instagram. And obviously TikTok is the other one that I know your band is really quite successful with. I haven't had any luck with that myself. Maybe it's not the right platform for a podcast, but
it's hard work, TikTok. I hate it. It keeps me up at night some nights. Like we've had success on it, but I hate it. The way it works, it's just bittersweet. It's hard work.
Yeah, but I started following you the other day, and at least you're popping up on my feed. But it's just weird, man. I don't know. Like I downloaded it. I know, like the first thing it started showing me was like girls dancing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? Like, why are you assuming I want to see this? I'm like, so I started kind of following drum accounts, and now it's a little bit more drummy. But like, I'm still swiping past loads of girls dancing. It's like, that's not like I'm not the demographic that wants to see that. And I thought, I don't know why it hasn't realized yet, but I don't know. It's so weird. I guess those posts are really popular, so it thinks everyone wants to see them.
It's a bit of time to learn about you. Like the more you use the platform, the more it starts like tailoring stuff towards you. And like in a way, TikTok is genius, but it's hard. So like with Instagram, if you choose to follow all these people, you're going to see them in your feed.
Yeah.
Whereas TikTok doesn't work like that. Because you could have 100 million followers of your TikTok account, but if your videos that you're uploading are not following the certain criteria of going viral, essentially, and getting loads of comments and likes and stuff, it won't show it to people.
Yeah.
Because it's all on the For You page as opposed to the feed.
Yes.
So that's why it's so annoying for marketers, well, for bands and stuff, because you might have a video, like we got 1 million views in one day on one of our videos. Wow. And it was just going insane. And now, because we're not posting as much because we're gearing up for the album, we can put up a video. We might be lucky if it gets 1,000, 2,000 in 3 days, which is just so annoying.
Yeah, it's not. It shows that you can potentially get 1 million. That's crazy. And yeah, there's a few people I know just with personal accounts that have, I guess, done something funny or just posted something funny, and then it's just kind of blown up crazy. It's not something I've ever done, unfortunately. But I don't know. I might give up entirely on that platform for the podcast anyway. I just don't think it's the right platform really for.
It's made for short content, so like 15 seconds a piece.
Yeah, so probably not the best one for me, so I might sack it off, but we'll see. But if you are on TikTok, anyone listening, feel free to follow @Drum for the Song. And what's your tag? The band's tag?
Factory.
It is Punk Rock Factory. All right, cool. Yeah, nice and simple. You the same on all the platforms?
Yeah.
Nice. That's the best way.
Yeah.
It really annoys me that our band is different, and like I swear that doesn't do us any favors as well. But no, need to change it. I need to change that. Right, cool. So yeah, so you started the band. I guess you said you didn't expect it to blow up like it obviously has. Was it just a little bit of fun to start, or did you kind of have some form of business head on, involved at the time, thinking, let's try and make some money, or was it not really that kind of thing?
Not really, but like, because all the bands that I've been working with over the years, I've always pushed covers. Like, I actually started with my missus now. I started with her band, the Beef Seeds. This was like maybe 6 years ago, and they were the first band I started working with, and they specifically did covers of pop songs, bluegrass. And ever since then, like Bars and Melody and these other bands that I've worked with over the years, I've always been saying you need to do covers. And it's not just because you're going to be a cover band, but I've always believed that covers are these kind of, you can go viral with a cover, and that's a catalyst then to explode your main catalogue and to push everyone back to the rest of your songs, really. So I've always been a big advocate for doing covers. But because I was working with all these different bands and telling them what to do and all these things, I just kind of thought, no, do you know what? I want to do this as well. So me and the boys just started doing it. It was a bit of fun. And we were doing it all the time. But then I think we had like a 2-year break, and then just started it back up again with, what was it? Kiss God Gave Rock and Roll to You, I think.
Nice.
And yeah, it was just kind of a bit of fun. We were doing it in the evenings, really. But then when lockdown happened, we actually blew up on TikTok with our cover of Just Can't Wait to Be King from Lion King.
Ah, that's a good one.
And that popped off then, and it just made us think, maybe we should be doing a Disney album, actually. And yeah, and then that Disney album we couldn't believe it. We put it up and it just went pretty much crazy. And since then, we're like, okay, we're going to have to do this properly now.
Crazy. That's so cool. So I listened to the first album, and that's got that one Disney song on it, right? Yeah. That's the one. So that's the one that blew up, which I thought this is probably, that one was really popular, which is why you decided to do all Disney. And for any Disney fans on there, do you want to reel off some of the tracks that are on the Disney album?
So what we got? Moana, How Far I'll Go, Let It Go from Frozen, Life is a Highway from Cars. There's so many on there, I can't even remember. It's just a bit of a blur
now. Is there one from the Aladdin? Oh yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
I'll Make a Man Out of You, Under the Sea, DuckTales, Supercalifragilistic, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Just absolute cheese.
And you got some vocal guests on some of these tracks as well, right?
Yeah, we got Jared from Bowling for Soup, Tony from Mest, Steve from Belvedere, Dennis from Temper Pole, Rhodey from Protest the Hero, Scott from Rufio, Dan Palmer from Zebrahead. It's pretty wild. That is, like, they're bands that I grew up drilling, and they all got involved on it. Like, still feels crazy, that does.
Yeah, it's really impressive, and I guess at quite an early stage in your band's career that these guys would agree to do it. So how did that work? Did you like just approach them and go, "This is where we are. We had a bit of a hit with this. Do you fancy being on the next album?" Or they approached you, or
they approached us?
Wow.
So yeah, Jared got in touch because I think he'd seen us on TikTok. First, actually, it was Steve from Belvedere, which was crazy because Belvedere are probably one of my all-time favorite bands. I should have said about them earlier. Love Belvedere.
I'm not actually familiar with them, to be honest. I'll have to go and check them out.
They were never huge, but they're like Canadian skate punk.
Right.
And I was listening to them when I was like 16. As much as I love like Blink and Green Day and stuff, they were the first ones where I was like, oh my God, look how fast he is going with 1 foot. And like I was sitting in school just practicing that punk beat and stuff because of bands like Belvedere and stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, he got in touch, and that just kind of blew my mind a little bit. And we were chatting for a while, and he was going to do Enrique Iglesias' Hero with us. And we started working on it, and like I started building out the track, which I do with all of them on MIDI. And it's just like, this is not going anywhere. I'm not really feeling good about this. And then we started talking and said, maybe we should do a Disney album. So then we agreed with him that he was going to do How Far I'll Go from Moana. And then we thought, we'll just kind of leave with Steve, see how it goes. And then out of nowhere, Jared from Bowling for Soup is like, oh man, I love what you guys are doing. So we're like, do you want to do a song with us?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm definitely up for this. And then Tony from Mest, which was another like crazy. I loved that band growing up. And he got involved then, asked, and he just kept asking people. Like,
Wow.
you bringing in all these people like Adrian, who's from Assuming We Survive and is a guitarist in Mest.
Right.
He got him in. He then asked Spencer from Ice Nine Kills, and they're probably the biggest one as far as numbers after Bowling for Soup. Scott from Rufio. He just kept asking everyone.
Wow. That's wicked. Have you got, like, you don't have to tell me any, but have you got any guests in line for the new album?
No, we didn't want him for the next one. We just, because it was awesome, but it was still a lot of work to try and get them in for the videos and to liaise with everybody, and they have to send their parts, and we have to obviously work on it in the studio. But this next one, because these are so kind of close to our heart, because it's all 90s nostalgia tracks like Turtles and Pokemon and stuff.
I know. I can't wait for it, man. I really can't wait for it.
It sounds so good.
It's going to be so fun.
I'm so happy with that. Like, I love the Disney album, and I'm so happy with everything that we got from it. But this is the one I'm really excited about.
Nice.
Like, I'm just getting to go. We're all just throwing everything here. And the way we worked on this with the Disney album was all working in lockdown, so it was remotely and stuff. Whereas this next album, we've just been locked in the studio for the last month and a half, just drilling every day.
Because you said you've all been able to do it full time now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's amazing. That shows what can be done.
Yeah.
I guess when you market something correctly, and you get in those figures and those. Do you want to go over some of the numbers that you've had, like Spotify streams and stuff like that?
Yeah, let me just have a quick look.
Probably change it. Yeah, probably increasing every day. So
it changes constantly. So yeah, I just need to get a blowing press release, mate.
It might be inspiring to some bands out there, or DIY bands. Like, I've always loved the idea of bands doing things by themselves, DIY, and you're a prime example of really a good success story. An amazing success story, really. And
it's had like 3.5 million streams.
Wow.
Got to number 48 in the UK album download charts. Had a bunch of radio play and stuff.
Yeah.
That's
pretty epic. Pretty epic.
Yeah,
and considering the time, the time, the lack of time that you've actually existed, that's a lot of numbers. And no record labels are involved, are they? You're releasing everything yourself?
Yeah. Completely ourselves, and pretty much zero budget as well. Like, we built the studio and stuff like that, but we didn't go advertising this album or anything.
Yeah.
It just kind of went out and went viral, really. We posted a bunch of videos.
I guess. Yeah. So I'm wondering, because it's like the Disney songs. Like, is it the kind of thing that like parents are sticking in their cars for their kids and stuff like that? Like, because it's just a compilation of great songs, and the kids can sing along, because I know they're slightly different versions. Well, they have different versions, but like, you hitting that market as well as just pop punk fans, and just and then obviously, I presume you must have had a bit of luck with maybe like Spotify, I guess, when it kind of suggests stuff that people that you're gonna like. People are gonna maybe discover you that way. Maybe.
To be honest, we haven't had any Spotify support at all, which is really surprising.
Oh, like, right, that is
kind of algorithmic stuff at all, which I normally tend to see a lot with the other artists.
Oh, wow.
No playlist support, no nothing, which I quite love. As much as I'd like to see that, I kind of like it that it's like all these gatekeepers, whether it's press, radio, Spotify, they kind of don't like it. But
right.
just look at the numbers now. 4.75 million streams on that album since December.
That's insane.
Yeah, I didn't even know that off the top of my head. I'm like, really?
See, that's mad. A few of those were me the other day, but I had it blasted on. I blasted out in work, and I think I pretty much played the whole discography over twice, and then I had to turn it off then, because it's quite intense. It is very high tempo and fast. Yeah. And even though it's really catchy, I was like, whoa, my brain needs a rest. I've just taken in a lot of stuff.
The next album, you'll feel that. The next album it's just an assault.
Yeah.
It's just non-stop. There's no letting up. It's just way more faster on so much stuff.
Class.
It's a bit more kind of skate punk.
Yeah.
And because the songs are so short on this next album, some of them are like 40 seconds, a minute and stuff, and you go like Darkwing Duck going into Funhouse, going into Mask, going into Power Rangers, Pokemon. And
Sounds so cool, man. I can't wait. No, that's great. And
We've got Flintstones, Animaniacs, Goof Troop, Arthur, Thundercats, Bucky O'Hare, Powerpuff Girls, Gummy Bears, Alvin and the Chipmunks, Turtles, Denver, Captain Planet, Round the Twist, Saved by the Bell, He-Man.
oh my God. I love the artwork. I saw the artwork the other day as well, the He-Man. Well, it's not just He-Man, is it? But it's, Masters of the Universe. Yeah, so let's just explain the sausage thing. I've noticed you describe your studio as the sausage factory.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering what that was. And then I listened to the albums and I was like, right, you sneak in a few sausage references whenever you can. Yeah. And the one I noticed, well, it was the on the Land Down Under, and it's not a Vegemite sandwich. Because I'm a fan of Vegemite. It was a sausage sandwich. And, no, but yeah, like where did that come from? It's funny, and it's obviously a trend that you're continuing with the songs, the album titles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been around for a while. We've always just kind of like, we're really stupid, pissing around all the time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a silly sausage thing that started, and now we just keep saying it all the time. And we call all the fans the Sausage Army, and they're getting involved with all of it and like reeling off the sausage references. And yeah, they were all sausages for these last 3 albums. We're starting to run out of sausage puns now, so we're thinking, yeah, maybe the next album we'll drop the whole worst thing or something.
Yeah,
it's no enough. Real. It's just kind of stuck.
It's cool though.
And every interview we get asked about that, and we're like, don't know.
Well, that's great though, because it's a talking point, and it's just something funny, and it's something that you can kind of sneak in, and it kind of, I guess if you're a listener, it pops out. If it's a song that you know, and then the slight lyric change, you're like, and then you kind of laugh. And so it's called Masters. The new album is called Masters of the Universe, or Worst. Do you say versed or worst?
Yeah, we say worst. Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, that's how I wasn't sure. And July the 30th, is that still the release date? Or awesome. Yeah. So look forward to that. And you've got some form of pre-orders available, or
the link's not live yet, but it's like maybe next week, I'm hoping. So maybe by the time this goes out, it'll be out.
Yeah, by the time this goes out, it'll be live. So check those out, guys. Obviously be able to stream it wherever you want, and stuff like that. You've also got like merch of really cool merch designs available on your website for anyone who's interested. I was quite impressed by some of those. Really good. So are they all done by the same artist?
So they're different stuff. It's mostly like Beck, my missus, does a lot of the designs. She actually did the artwork for the new album as well.
Awesome.
She does a ton of the designs. I do a few of them. We've got a few different designers to do some of the more like kind of advanced ones. And
wow.
But yeah, all kind of keeping it in-house and stuff mainly.
That's awesome. So you're a bit of an artist yourself as well?
I'm not drawing anything, but like I've always been just building websites, doing Photoshop and stuff, as well as I edit the videos as well.
Yeah.
Never drawing anything. It's always just throwing it together on Photoshop mainly.
So did you, with regards to this is interesting as well, for the video editing side of things, was that something you taught yourself? Or yes, that's really impressive, because I guess that's so much more important these days. And like I'm doing very, very, very basic stuff for my podcast, and I'm trying to learn little bits here and there. I'm using DaVinci Resolve, only because one of my mates said it's just kind of an easier interface, and it kind of does everything, and it's free, which is good. But I'm trying, but I guess it's difficult because people use different programs and stuff. It's really hard. But it's really, because I guess with the Instagram thing, like you say, in pushing videos and all the different types of content, if you can just whip up something yourself without needing to go external to provide you clips, it's really important, isn't it? And I'd like to be able to kind of do that for the band one day, maybe. I know my brother Todd does a little bit of it. But I guess for my podcast, it's really, really basic. So I need an excuse to kind of try something else to kind of learn other techniques, I suppose. But I
think that's a big thing where a lot of bands are kind of missing out, really, and just general people, is they have to rely on so many outside people. And the reason maybe why PRF's working so well is just that's like we're able to talk about something, and then within half hour we can film it, we can edit it, we can throw it up on Instagram, and then before you know, it's kind of kicking off online. And just kind of throwing stuff out all the time.
And
And
it's
that's
not,
how I got started into all of that, was doing that kind of stuff myself.
yeah, that's really useful. So, yeah, so like all that kind of stuff, like the graphic design stuff is all you guys doing it. And you're not, yeah, that's great because that's one thing my band is kind of like, and you know, my wife's really good. Like she's a graphic designer and an illustrator. So there's certain things that she can kind of do for us. But like, it's not as if I wish I could just do it myself whenever I wanted, instead of kind of like waiting until she finishes work and then saying, because she's been doing that 9 to 5. It's like, do you mind doing this? And normally it's like, oh, do I have to? Do you know what I mean? And I'd rather just be able to do it myself, you know?
Messing around with stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I learn. So everyone learns.
Yeah.
There's enough tutorials out there. Like the amount of times I've thought, oh, I want to learn I want to learn how to make this kind of video or just some sort of effect. And I'll just sit there on YouTube and I'll spend like an hour on YouTube and I'll make it while watching the video. And then I'll end up putting it out and I'll look back at that and think, I'm so glad I learned how to do that, because that video has now got 100K views or something like that.
Nice. Yeah, I guess it is. I do go to YouTube a lot for stuff like that. Yeah. Hi, I hope you're enjoying this episode of Drum for the Song. I just wanted to briefly interrupt the interview to tell you about my Patreon page, which is a place where you can support the podcast and, of course, support myself. You can sign up to one of the 3 tiers on there. There's one that's £3 a month, one that is £5 a month, and one that is £10 a month. There are loads and loads of exclusive benefits to signing up, including bonus episodes, merch discounts, Christmas card for myself. If you sign up to the top tier, I'll send you a pair of my drumsticks. Loads of other stuff. So go check it out. It's patreon.com/drum for the song. And another way you could support me if you're interested, if you're not bothered about the Patreon thing, if you go to my official website, drumforthesong.com, you can send a donation via PayPal. So yeah, thanks for watching this and enjoy the rest of the show.
Drum for the Song podcast.
With regards to like you said, the recording, one thing you mentioned earlier, you said you built the track on MIDI. Do you mean just the drums, or so you?
Yes, so that's how we start with all the tracks.
Right.
I'll actually, like, what I used to do was use karaoke versions. I didn't for this album because they're all quite old. But like, I'll go on karaokeversion.com or whatever, download the stems for a song for like 99p. Then I'll speed it up to a point where where I'm happy with it. And then I'll actually build it out using addictive drums on, what do I use? Studio One.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because this is Windows, not Logic. And yeah, I'll just build out the tracks. So they'll start in this really rough form of MIDI. And then, like with the Disney album, I would send it to Stead. Stead would put his guitars on there. And then, because he's got a Kemper, we Kemper everything for the guitars. And that's how the song starts. And then with this one, I did the same, but obviously I do the drums in here. And then we go straight out to the studio. And then the boys would put the final guitar straight on there and stuff. But they tend to start like that.
Wow.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I guess it gives you like a structure and stuff like that to work off. So you record acoustic drums eventually, or?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah. And then you do that in-house yourself? You don't have a producer? You do it all yourself? Or?
Yeah. So Benj does all of our production, the bassist Benj.
Benj, the bassist. Cool.
Yeah, so he does all of our recording. We kind of all produce together, but he does all the recording, all the engineering. Well, we're all kind of getting a bit more involved now. But yeah, he's the one that does like the final mixes and stuff like that.
Class. Yeah. That's great.
And I'm so impressed with him, to be fair. Like the fact that we're able to put out these recordings and people are just saying this sounds amazing, and it's just like a couple of years ago, he always used to do recording years ago, but it was only a few years ago that he was like, yeah, I'm going to get back into this recording. And I listen to his mixes now and like, fair play. He's just the reason we can do as well as we do, I think, is because of how good his recordings are sounding now. Yeah,
because they sound, proper pro, and I thought they sounded really good. So yeah, tell him well done. I'm sure he's had lots of well dones before, but I wasn't sure that it was him or whether it was you or whatever. But it's great to have that in house as well. You've got. I know you've mentioned that you might be touring soon, because that's obviously something you haven't done yet. Yeah. So is there anything you can say yet, or is it more kind of watch this space?
Yeah, well, we're about to announce the tour dates now. It's not all 100% confirmed as far as where. So as soon as that's announced, as soon as we know, that'll be announced then.
Great.
Like a couple of weeks, but it's going to be the end of the year. Bunch of UK dates, and
Awesome.
can't wait. It's going to be amazing. And
It's
then
gonna be
next
mad.
year, plans hopefully for America and festivals and stuff.
Oh, wow. That's the stuff. And that's exciting. And even though, yeah, it's going to be quite a unique band to have on a lineup, whether it's a festival or you know, or tour, just because of the cover aspect, is the kind of anyone could kind of just hear it and go, "What's that?" And then they'll just instantly kind of be intrigued and want to go and check out the band. And yeah, I can just see it going down really well. Anyway, you know,
I always thought live was going to be something where it would kind of be the last step. Like everything's going so well from like my kind of specialist area as far as socials and YouTube and stuff, and then he would eventually force people's hands. But like I said about we're now signed with Paul Ryan at United Talent, he came out of nowhere and was just like, I love this. I want to sign you guys. And I still can't believe that because he's a legend and he's Bring Me the Horizon, Architects, and now us bunch of dickheads.
Does he do any?
Cool.
So cool. Yeah. Does he do any other like punk bands? Do you know?
No, I don't think so.
That's cool though, because you'll be his main kind of punk band then.
Yeah. And he said as well that we're the only cover band that UTA work with and probably would work with as well. Yeah, he does like Bullet, Bring Me, Cannibal Corpse. He used to be in Cradle of Filth.
Oh, right.
Good
right.
and things like that. And
nice.
Yeah, The Damned. I suppose that would be the only.
Oh, there you go. That's pretty cool. Awesome.
Yeah, so that I still can't believe that. So I'm really looking forward to getting those dates on sale and doing what we can to sell them out as fast as possible to show him that it was good.
And then you might even be able to upgrade and stuff like that. Then, if they sell out really quickly using your little skills, it's legit, isn't it? People are buying tickets. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are still a bit skeptical of buying tickets in advance because of the COVID thing. I don't think people have a lot of confidence that things are going ahead. So I don't know how easy you guys will probably have no problem. But I've just from what I've seen within the community and especially like the kind of the genre that my band play, there's a lot of people like comment, is it actually going to happen though and stuff? And so I imagine there's a lot of people like not pulling the trigger immediately. But then if they really want to go and they don't want to miss out, I guess they should just buy anyway, and then they can always get a refund or whatever, can't they?
Yeah.
I guess as long as
asking us to tour for so long as well. So I think it's just that excitement of potentially getting to see us.
Yeah. It'd just be a good night out, wouldn't it? It'd be a great night out for anyone. People who know the material already. Hopefully you're playing local because I want to come. But
yeah, we'll be doing a Cardiff show. You're gonna have to come down.
Yeah, hell yeah. No, that's great, man. What was I going to talk about earlier? Right, so you had a bit of time off drumming, didn't you?
Yeah.
Which I didn't know about. I'm sure your family and friends knew about it, but so you had a bit of a problem with arthritis. Well, really serious problem that you told me the other day. I don't know if you want to maybe disclose some of that, talk about how you discovered it initially and how it prevented you from playing drums.
So I was playing with this other band that I was working with before the contract I'm with now, like a couple of years, but it was about 3 years back. And we were practicing and I'd be playing and I was just kind of noticing like my wrists were doing that all the time. And I just kind of kept going with it and everything, started going to have tests all the time and noticing that I was losing the feeling in my hands and I was struggling to hold sticks and stuff. And probably about a year of going to different doctors and hospitals and stuff. First they saw it was frozen shoulder and all these different weird things. And then after loads of tests, they found out it was a rare type of arthritis called palindromic rheumatism, which normally when somebody's got arthritis, it's in their joints and it's your body. Well, it's like, your joints are just knackered. Whereas my immune system thinks that I've got arthritis and it attacks my joints and it attacks healthy tissue. So when I get these flares, like I've had times where just my hands just do this and I can't use my hands and it happens all over my body and stuff. And when I first started getting it really bad, it was rough, man. It was really bad times. And like they're giving me all this different medication to try out. And with so much of autoimmune diseases like that, it's trial and error. Some drugs work for some people, some don't. So it was just like a year of, okay, do 3 to 6 months of these drugs. And eventually they settled on this one drug, sulfasalazine, which really helped the flares, but it messed my head big time. It turned me into like this kind of anxious recluse. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to do PRF. I didn't want to leave the house really. Wow. It was so messed up. And it kind of came into the beginning of lockdown, and I was still on them, and I was like batting off work and everything, and just didn't want to deal with anybody at all. And the idea of potentially getting somewhere with PRF and having to do interviews and things like this was kind of almost too much for me. The anxiety was really messing with me. But then when did I start? Probably around the kind of time, not long before the Disney album started kicking off, which was good timing.
Yeah.
They started me they moved me onto this new drug, and I've now been on them for about 3-4 months, I'd say now, where I got to inject myself. But the difference is insane. Like I'm the fittest I've been in a long time. I'm playing drums every night. I'm really getting my chops up and stuff. But if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the medication, I'd be gone.
Wow.
Weird times, really kind of mess with my head, and trying to make those decisions, thinking, am I kind of done with drumming now? And like, never mind drumming, I can barely walk up the stairs and things like that. And
yeah, that's so scary, man. And
yeah,
totally scary. But it's just, I guess it's obviously a rare, you said it's a rare condition, obviously. Yeah. I guess if anyone's getting similar kind of symptoms, maybe they can investigate it or use this as a reference just in case it sounds similar. Hopefully not, obviously. And it's great that they eventually did find something that works for you, but also kind of keeps your head in the right place. Well, you seem in a good way at the moment. Like you said, you're really fit, and yeah, that's amazing to hear. And well, like, I guess I'm glad to hear that, really. And I'm sorry you had to go through those kind of tougher times. And I guess it's probably you had to get on with things as much as possible, but you just didn't want to. And it sounds pretty grim.
It's a weird time to go through, because like so much, as far as like I was going to doctors and stuff, as far as dealing with the like kind of anxious side of the medication stuff, I'm going to doctors and they're just like, oh, are you just kind of a bit depressed and stuff? I'm like, honestly, I'm balling. I love my life. I love everything.
Yeah.
I'm feeling these kind of low things. Like, I've not long moved house. I've got a studio in my garden. I work from home and stuff. I'm telling you, it's the medication and stuff. And then when they finally stopped me off the medication, just like, bloody hell. But then the pain started coming back, so we had to switch meds up and everything. But all worked out, though. I'm kind of almost glad that I've experienced it all, because I really have got a newfound appreciation for people that are going through kind of anxiety and stuff like that, because I've always been such a happy, bubbly person, kind of get up and get on with it as far as business and stuff. So to feel those kind of dark lows and stuff, it really showed me that some people go through some rough stuff, really. And yeah, and it got me really into meditation as well. I'm massively into mindfulness and meditation now, and my reading about things like that. And so yeah, all happened for a reason.
Yeah,
maybe the reason I am.
Yeah, and you're better for it now. And yeah, like you said, the meditation thing, I do a little bit of it, and it certainly helps me, especially when I'm feeling kind of stressed or I've got so much going on. And that's my problem I've always had, is I let things maybe get to me that, I'm sure I can get around these things if I, take them one by one, and it all gets on top of me. And like to be honest, the podcast does it to me sometimes when I've given myself a deadline, or I know I've got to, like right now, like I know we just passed halfway through the month, and I know I've got to come up with some form of bonus episode by the end of the month. And I'm like, every time I allow myself to think about that, it really, really stresses me out. And I'm like, why do I agree to do this? And when am I going to do it? And I want to make sure I'm doing something interesting. And it's a lot of pressure, but then deep down, I'm like, once I kind of, breathe, or, do some breathing exercises, or just kind of get into that different space, it really does help. I know a lot of people kind of maybe don't take it seriously, and they hear people talk about meditation and think, oh, it's just a load of hippie stuff. And it's so good, isn't it?
But yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
it really is. And like there's free stuff available. Like I know you said you use the Headspace app. That's what my wife uses, and I've had that in the past, and I've done it on tour when I get like 10 minutes on tour, I'll just go and lie in my bunk in the bus and kind of do it. I've done it in dressing rooms and stuff when no one's around. And yeah, it just, you always feel, no matter what's going on, you always feel this really nice feeling when you finish. Like, it's really hard to describe. Even if it hasn't gone that well, you kind of just open your eyes. And I don't know, it just feels really nice.
When people say, like, take a deep breath, isn't it? It's all come from somewhere. It's all come from the fact that there is something to all this breathing, calming you down and stuff. And I looked into it because there's so much to do with like autoimmune conditions and things like arthritis and stuff like that. And I felt that relief. Yeah. I've done certain meditations where it's to do with like autoimmune and stuff like that. And if I'm flaring, and I'll like have a serious kind of session, and by the end of it, you're like, ooh, yeah, like, and there's really something to it all.
So that, yeah, the mind is
off for a while as well. Have you heard about him? Freezing cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing that, but in the shower every morning. I freeze cold shower and meditating and stuff.
I've talked about this before, and like I did like a health and well-being bonus episode, and one of the things I do every day is have a cold shower. Oh, I do it. I have like a warm shower, and then I blast it on cold for the last few minutes, just so my whole body is kind of like as cold as possible. Obviously, it depends on the season. Sometimes it's super cold, sometimes it's not so much. But I do that. Literally, I don't think I've gone a day without doing that in about 2 years.
Yeah,
and
it works really well, doesn't it?
And especially if you do it first thing in the morning before your day of work starts, it just makes you feel. Even if you woke up feeling groggy and like you can't be asked, you know, have a cold shower. And I know it honestly just kind of perks you up, makes you feel more alive and up for the day, or, you know, it really does help. And I know, again, I've talked about this to people. I've recommended it to like family members and friends, and they just kind of think it's just a load of nonsense, but it really does. And unless you try it, I think you need to try it and realize, right, that's what he means. This is good. And yeah, with the meditation stuff, I was going to say, there's even I think there's a program on Netflix now, a Headspace have got their own, it's like it's only like 8 episodes to introduce you to some basic meditation forms. And it's a nice way of doing it with the nice visuals and stuff like that. And I'd maybe recommend that for anyone that is tempted to give it a go if you've got a Netflix account. You know,
a good one to get into stuff as well is some of the Joe Rogan podcasts. If you like podcasts, some of them are amazing. Like, I'm reading a book at the moment by James Nestor called Breath, and I heard him through Joe Rogan, and this book is blowing my brain, talking about how humans have evolved in the wrong way to breathe through our mouths instead, and that by doing the experiments where they do this and make them sleep like this, so they breathe through their nose for 2 months, their health gets better and their sleep gets better and they're less anxious and stuff like that. And it's crazy. There's so much to it all.
Is he the Irish guy?
No, I think he's American.
Right, because I've listened to, I'm not sure, maybe it wasn't Joe Rogan. It might have been Dr. Chatterjee's podcast. That's a good one for if you haven't checked him out. But there's not. Yeah, I've breathing through your nose is breathing in and out through your nose is apparently way better for you. And but I can't remember his name, but there's an Irish guy. I always remember it because of the accent was quite funny. But I'm not that familiar. I very rarely speak to people from Ireland, so it always makes me. I don't know. I love the accent. It sounds great. And he was like, breathe through your nose and not through your mouth. And I just remember it being funny. But maybe that wasn't Joe Rogan. That might have been Dr.
There's a bunch of Joe Rogans where people talk about that, and I've read quite a lot of books because that I've heard them on Joe Rogan and stuff like that. And there's just so much to all of it.
Yeah.
Like, there's this whole kind of lost form. There's so much to learn from it, really, whether it's anxiety or health issues or just general kind of longevity of life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I just find it super, super interesting.
Yeah, and like a lot of it's linked to like inflammation and stuff, which can cause. Well, you want to reduce all forms of inflammation, and a lot of it can be helped by doing these things we're talking about, and that the inflammation can cause illnesses and all sorts of diseases, and it's, people just think, oh, you just get inflammation if you hurt your arm or something, but it's just like every part of your body. Yeah, it's interesting, but we're going quite deep now. But it's nice to talk to someone else that kind of, I guess, has kind of gone through that kind of route of listening to these people that are obviously there's millions of people who do it as well, but I just don't know many myself. But I've reaped the benefits of it, and it's definitely helping you by the sound of it. So that's amazing. And you're playing drums more. Is there anything? Obviously, because you were, I guess, hurting when you were playing your drums at the start. Is there anything you kind of do to try and reduce that, like with your warm up routines or anything like that? Do you do a stretching or anything like that?
I stretch every day now, and we were like before all this, we were doing yoga classes once a week, and I still do a fair bit of stretching all the time. But when it was at its worst, all I could really do was just sit in a bath. Like sometimes I would wake up in the morning just be in such agony, I'd roll out of bed, just get in the bath, and Beck would just run the bath for me and just sit in the bath.
Wow.
Because of that, and sometimes just ice in it. Like I'd wake up in the middle of the night, come down and just stick ice on there until it kind of calmed down.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
But yeah, when it was at its worst, I just kind of had to stop playing. Really,
yeah,
it kind of in check stuff.
Yeah, so scary. Like if I had this, I've had a few injuries, like my shoulder and like my knee plays up. My knee still plays up every now and again, I must admit. And I kind of link that to maybe not warming up properly and just going straight into playing a whole practice session or a recording session and not allowing it to kind of warm up. But it kind of
try and warm up a lot now, just in case. One thing that really freaked me out actually the other day, which I'm kind of glad because I had a hospital appointment yesterday and I spoke to him about it. But on Monday, I started flaring in my wrists, and we practiced. And I was like, "Whoa, this shouldn't be happening now. Like I'm on these injections, something's wrong here." And then it kind of died off after a couple of days. And then me and Beck were talking and realized that I'd had a really heavy Chinese on Saturday night. And sometimes MSG and possibly salt can actually cause inflammation.
Wow.
So then I spoke to rheumatology about it yesterday, and like, more than likely it probably was just an overload of MSG, which caused that flare, which kind of crept over the medication. So what I'm going to do now is leave it a month, and all being well, I'm going to have a Chinese again, the same thing. And if it flares again, then I know to stay away from MSG.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, no, I'm done with this. Come on. Because I worry that if we're on tour and I'm in the middle of a tour and my hands go, I'm knackered. Like we talked about this, maybe we get a drum tech that can play the songs and stuff. But just the idea of that, it's like, no, it's not happening. Like if I have to sellotape them and just do this, we'll make it work.
Yeah, but it is a realistic thing to kind of worry about, and you'd rather not pull shows because of that. Like one example I've mentioned, obviously it's not even comparable to what you've had to go through, but it was the only time ever that the Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons had two festivals on the same day, which was crazy in itself, in two different countries. It was Belgium and then Holland. We played once, I think we played once at like 1 or 2 p.m. ish, and then we had like a late show in Holland then. And during the first show, it is linked to probably I didn't have much sleep. Maybe my diet wasn't great. I don't know. During the first show, my right wrist I just felt like a little explosion in it, and I just didn't have any. Left. My left. Sorry, it was my left wrist. It was my snare drum. Wrist. I just felt like a little explosion in it, like halfway during the set, and I just lost all power, and it was just so much pain. And I was just like, well, I just got to keep playing, and I just couldn't whack that snare properly. It was painful. I got through the end of the set, and then I went to kind of the first aid area. Luckily, it was a decent festival, and they gave me some ice or one of those ice pack things and paracetamols or whatever. But I'm like, right, the problem is I've got a show tonight, which is the worst time for this ever to happen. Even if it happened on a normal tour, and he said I have 24 hours to kind of rest it. And I remember I bandaged it up to kind of give it a bit of support, and I had to get through the next show, and I just couldn't hit the snare at all with any force or to kind of do anything with feel. I do a lot of ghost notes and things like that. And luckily our sound engineer was kind of like aware of it, and I was like, just try and compensate as much as you can. I can't hit the snare properly. I can't really. I said I didn't really have a drum tech, so I was like, I kind of need your help to help me pack away and stuff like that. And it just felt pathetic, really. But but like it's not, it wasn't ideal, and it was scary because I'm like, what? I don't want this to happen again. I don't know what specifically caused it. It hasn't come back since.
Little sprain or something, probably. Huh?
Yeah, it felt like the kind of like the tendons there. I don't know, but pretty scary. But it makes me like now like stretch them out all the time. Stretch your hands, stretch your fingers. It's all linked to these muscles there. And strange.
Yeah, I'm always doing this now. I'm constantly just doing that because it's when it's in there, that pain is just horrible because that's that kind of.
I've never had it there, and that I can imagine it must be horrible. Yeah, never had it there, luckily. But anyway, I'm sure there's other drummers who've had other injuries like that, and I've talked about carpal tunnel syndrome before, and you can get operated on to kind of get that sorted out, and just try and do as much as you can to avoid these things happening. And it's scary, but
I haven't had the best of luck with health stuff.
No.
I didn't tell you another thing I had was it last year or the year before? I started getting palpitations all the time. Like my luck with health is just terrible. Turned out I had an extra bit of muscle on my heart, which was firing electrical impulses between one chamber to the other. And I had to have an operation.
What?
And I had to be awake for it. And it was fucking rough. It was the most horrible thing I've ever done. Honestly, I think I would rather die than have the operation again. They cut into my leg, sent a camera and this burny laser thing up through my artery into my heart, and it's inside my heart, and there's this big massive TV next to me with like this image of my heart and everything, and all these doctors and everything around me. And the doctor was saying to the nurse to trigger this tachycardia in my heart, and he would press a button and my heart would go do, 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 start beating, and he'd be looking on the screen to find the place. And then once he'd find it, he would ablate. So basically put in a laser to burn off a tiny section of muscle in my heart. Normally these operations, I think, take like 15 minutes or something. I was in there for like 2 hours.
Oh my God.
It was rough. It was so rough. Imagine like the most intense heartburn ever. They'd start the laser and it almost feel like my heart was doing that. Rough. I'll show you the photos of the bruises on my legs as well, because they were just ragging this thing into my leg, and I just got bruises all up my groin, and I just couldn't walk for weeks after.
Jesus Christ.
It was rough.
I've never heard of that before, and that sounds absolutely grim.
Yeah.
And
I laugh about it.
Why did you have to be awake? I don't really understand that. And why did it have to be through your leg? Because that's like the furthest. Why did you need to go so far?
Because then, if they would have actually like cut into me and gone in, I would have had to be knocked out or something. But by going through the artery, like it's just day surgery or something. I was in and out within a day, which is crazy. That was rough.
Sorry, man. Sorry to hear that. But I mean, it's interesting, but it's horrific. Well, geez,
it looks like Mike Tyson punched me in the balls. Like when you see the flipping photos and just bruises on my leg. Rough.
So they like. It was just literally just from nothing specifically potentially caused it. It's just random things.
I'd always had these palpitations and stuff, and I thought it was just because I kind of partied a little bit too hard when I was young and stuff.
Yeah.
But they said that I always would have had it, and it was just this kind of extra little bit of muscle and stuff. And
interesting.
Yeah, just.
And it hasn't happened since.
No.
That's good. That's good.
But to be honest, if it did happen again, I made the decision to say if it happened again, I wouldn't be having that operation again.
Just put up with it. Just put up. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Is it a name for that?
Yeah. What was it called?
No, it doesn't.
My heart was tachycardic. Trying to remember. And I had to have a catheter ablation, which is the operation which is going in through a catheter and ablating my heart. I can't remember.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I've just never heard of that before, and they're going to try and find it. But no worries, man. And hopefully, none of our listeners will ever have to go through that. And if you have, let me know, or anything similar. It sounds pretty scary, and I don't think I could have lay through that knowing that was happening to me. Ugh. It reminds me of something else that I'm not going to talk about when it goes into another place. I don't know. I didn't enjoy that. You know what I mean? No, right. Just before we finish, then let's talk about some of the gear you use for it. I know you told me about your drum kit you got on order. You allowed to talk about that? Are you happy to talk about that? Yes. So it's an SJC, right?
Yeah, so I've been offered an SJC deal, and they're in the process of building this new kit for me now. Like, it's been going on for a while, but they just said there were shortages on the specific type of wrap that they were going to be using or material. But yeah, it's going to be pink and black, which is the PRF colors, like barbershop with glitter on it and stuff. It looks so good. I can't wait to see it. But nice. Yeah, I really was hoping that I'd have it for all these new videos for the next album. But yeah, because it's being built in America, it's just been held up and stuff, and Brexit and everything. But by the tour, I should have it now.
No, awesome. What are the sizes and stuff for anyone interested in all the nerdy stuff?
12, 14, 16 floors. So just the one high tom. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. And then 14 snare.
No, oh, so you got a matching snare as well.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, more 22 kick or 20. I'm shit with this stuff.
I don't know. You did tell me, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, it's interesting because I think I played an SJC kit once at a festival, and it was they were very popular at the time, from what I remember. They're still popular now, but I guess I was playing, I guess, Slam Dunk Festival and all these gigs where there was lots of American kind of pop punk bands and emo bands and stuff, and a lot of them were using SJC at the time. So yeah, it's just cool to see that it's still going strong, and they always looked they always looked amazing, and that was like what was cool about them. They always used to, if you want a kit that stands out on a stage, they're a brand to go for,
For me, like so many actual drummers, well, more kind of like kind of pro drummers and stuff like that, they almost turn their nose up a little bit at SJC and stuff. But for me, I really think that half the time it's about the skins you use. And obviously, they're still amazing kits. Yeah. But like, I've got a Yamaha Absolute Custom. And yeah, it's amazing, but I don't like the look of it really. Whereas I look at that SJC kit and I feel it's like 50-50. Sound is 50 and the look is the other 50. And so more like standard kind of kits, they don't really focus on the design as much. And I want to accessorize that kit. I want black hardware with pink and shit like that, and really I want it to stand out on a stage and not just rely on the drum skin.
Yeah, we're totally.
We want our stage show to look amazing. Like the boys have been today wrapping their Marshall cabs in pink Tolex material, so it'll match the kit, and then we'll have the backdrop and everything, and the skull on my kick and everything. I just think it's really important for the kit to look banging, and I don't want to just be stuck with a standard looking kit really. So, and SJC was always my dream company to be repping, to be fair.
Awesome. That's so cool. And then like we were talking about earlier with the social media stuff, it's all about visuals, and that's going to help. Yeah. If you're having a little 15-second clip come up when you're on TikTok with a load of guys playing pink drums and pink Marshall amps or whatever, it's going to stand out to, over the next video. That's some, maybe even if it is a band and it's just all black or whatever, like my band or something like that. So I've gone the opposite way. My new kit that it arrived a few months ago. It's just black with with the normal chrome hardware. So I've gone the opposite. Because I always used to have white kits, which always were quite stand out. And nice. I always used to have white kits, and then I just thought I've never had a black kit. Just gonna go with a cool black kit. But it's the opposite. But yeah, it's not gonna look. It's not really gonna. I guess I've had it not so it stands out. But I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it's a different kind of vibe, I suppose. But nice. Yeah. And obviously, you're using your Vincent drumsticks. So you're endorsed by Vincent sticks now.
Yeah.
I hooked Kob up, but they are the best sticks for anyone who hasn't tried them yet. Give them a go, because they will last you longer than any other brand out there.
I'm amazed how longer they last.
Yeah. So it's a legit person now, Kob. You've obviously tried all the other brands over the years.
Yeah.
And similarly with me, as soon as I started using these, I was like, these are not breaking at all. Or I did 16 shows with one pair once, which is no joke. They were battered at the end, but they didn't break. So,
and there seems to be a better grip on them as well. Like I throw my sticks around loads. I'm constantly pissing around and chucking.
Yeah.
And I can seem to hold on to them. And it seems to be when I sweat, they just hold a bit better. Whereas I've got a couple of old pairs of Vic Firth that I was just using from time to time, and they fly out of my hands.
Yeah, there's something in
I do
the coat,
agree with
the wax grip coating
Yeah,
they
wax
use.
coating,
It's something what it is. They're slightly different to most of the other brands, which, yeah, I don't really drop a lot of sticks. I don't do any tricks or anything, but like I very rarely drop these, maybe once a tour, if that, And I don't know whether the sticks are helping or whether it's just me anyway. I don't know. But yeah, it's one thing I've noticed as well. And yeah, they're really good.
Be careful because I'm constantly, I hit the boys all the time.
Right.
Like when we're playing live, I'll be doing a bit less and stuff, but I'm always like trying stupid shit, like throwing them backwards and trying to catch.
Mad.
The boys are moving out of the way constantly, whacking them all the time. So it really helps for that.
That's so cool. It looks visually cool. I've never really put the time to try anything like that. And I'm aware there's loads of people doing it now, especially with the Instagram, TikTok generation. It is a thing. Yeah. And it does look really cool. But maybe I'll try one day. But I don't think I can kind of twirl with my right hand.
All the time. Yeah.
I can't twirl with my left. I tried the other day. I'm like, it was just like, what the hell's going on? But it's funny. And I don't know how you actually find, the tempos are so fast. I don't know where you find the time to do it with your songs anyway. They're so fast. And
I've had to learn. Normally I throw it up and catch it, but now because the songs are so fast, I've had to learn to almost throw it backwards so that instead of going up, catch, hit, now I've got to go like spin and catch at the same time.
Yeah, I see.
Travis Barker do quite a lot. So you kind of throw it backwards and do it. But if you miss that, you'll launch it at Benj's head or something. So and the amount of times just whacked it.
That's so funny, man. And then Zildjian cymbals you're using, right?
Yeah. Nice. Always use Zildjian. Yeah. I've never even tried anyone else, to be fair. I feel like sometimes I do see some like other videos and that and think, oh, fair play. But I've just always used A Customs. Like I've got a cake now for that just because I've got an extra one over here to be a little bit darker on a 20. But I just love A Customs. They're so bright and they've always seemed perfect for me, even when I was younger. I
used to use them as well, as you know, and I do like them. I admit they're nice sounding cymbals and that. I definitely would, I have nothing against them. They're really cool. And you hear the problem is there's so many great brands out there and so many great drummers playing them that you're always going to see stuff. Oh, they sound good. Or I wouldn't mind them, but like, I guess if you're trying to be brand loyal or, get into the stage when you're supporting a brand, they're supporting you, you can't really mix and match.
Yeah.
I guess, if you're trying to get a discount or free cymbals from a company, obviously you can't that's part of the agreement. You can't use another brand. So, that's the way it is.
To be fair, I think even if Zildjian didn't even give me one, I'd always want to use them anyway, just to like genuinely do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best way though. Just use the brand that you want to use because you like them. And, one day maybe, the endorsement will come. If it doesn't come straight away, it's better than just kind of using whoever will give you free stuff, in my opinion, because you're not going to be using what you really want.
Yeah, like I've got all the gear I need. I've got no interest in getting stuff for free. Like it was cool. Like I probably would have got SJC anyway. Yeah, it was nice that they reached out and stuff. But like Vincent was definitely one that I really wanted.
Yeah,
which is cool. The one thing I can't decide on though is pedals. I'm trying every possible pedal. Like I'm into a Dynasync now, so I've started using that direct drive Dynasync. Yeah, I do love it. But I'm thinking, do I want to go back to a DW, possibly get a 9000? I want every pedal in front of me, and I just want to try them all out.
Right. This is interesting, bro, because I got a DW 9000.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I've actually got two because I bought one as a spare. So we should have a day
yes.
It's probably easier if I come over to you because you've got a kit like we can actually play loud and we can try them both. Because I'm interested in trying the Dynasync just in case it works for what I do.
I got the Speed Cobra, the Dynasync, and an Iron Cobra, and I'm kind of switching between them. But the 9007, I really want to kind of stick next to them and have a look. So let's hook that up definitely.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it because like I've tried loads of pedals over the years. I was using an Iron Cobra with the strap for a while, which I loved the feel because it was just smooth. But when I wanted to do those fast doubles, it just wouldn't allow me to do it because there was no pedal and there was no rebound really to help me kind of do the double. It's probably my technique being crap as well, but with those
think
pedals, I couldn't do it.
Like whenever you say this to people, everyone goes, "Oh, it's your technique." Like, no, it's not about that. Like, because I can go faster without a pedal, just tapping on the floor. I can do rapid double punk beats and stuff. And then I was going through all these pedals. Like I'd be going to like Drum Depot and places like that, and talking to other people, just saying it just doesn't feel like it's reacting. And everyone's like, "Oh, it's your technique." Like, it's not my fucking technique. Like, something about it. But honestly, the Dynasty thing, I want to try the 9000, but I'm pretty sure I'll end up coming back to it. Like, I love that pedal, to be fair. Like, it's crazy. It feels like it's an extension of your foot.
Yeah, because I guess it's not. It takes away that whole, the chain, the drive, the chain, the actual force needed for that isn't there. So that's the idea, and I'm interested in trying that myself.
Nice. I want to try the other ones as well, like the tricks and Bigfoots and stuff like that. Like, I've never tried any of those real proper direct drive. I'm well up for trying them. Yeah, and
I think a lot of it is adjusting from what you're used to. I think when you say you went to a shop and tried a load of things out, it's kind of you're automatically comparing them to what you're used to and what you were doing to achieve what you were trying to achieve on that what you were used to. And I think that's the problem. Whenever I try something different, I'm like, oh, it's all like, this feels weird. And then you need to put the time in. So maybe we could do a swap or whatever for a week or something. I don't know. So you can actually really get the grips and play around with settings and all that, or whatever you want to do. And we're only down the road from each other, I think. So it's convenient. Let's do it. But what heads you use in Evans, is it?
Yeah, HD dry and Evans on everything.
Nice. No, you can't go wrong. Awesome, man.
Another thing that I haven't really tried out much. Like I've had different ones over the years, but I think the only one I'm really set on is I love that HD dry. It just really whacks through, and I think those holes make such a difference.
Yeah, I've used them in the past.
Yeah.
Once you find something you like, it's kind of like I found stuff I like, and I see other things. Oh, I wouldn't mind trying that, but I'm like, I can achieve the sound I want with what I've got. So what's the point? I might as well just stick with it. Otherwise I just spend time. Go on.
I was going to say, tuna fish lug locks. I've recently got them and far. Try them.
I don't need to, but I use Sona. I'm only part joking, but honestly, the Sona stuff. Or Sono, they've got it's kind of built into the actual lug itself. It's really interesting. It's called Tune Safe. It's like whatever technology they use. It's built into the lug, so that it doesn't. It does obviously to some degree, but it stops it from loosening. So I've never had that problem. I can literally tour, play a full set my kit up the next day. Don't really need to change anything. And it's especially good for snare drums because you get that nice consistency without, I like my brother was saying in the studio, we've got an old like Ludwig. I don't know if it's because it's old or because it's a Ludwig, but like the bottom tension rods are literally falling out of the drum within the same session. And that's rubbish. I couldn't deal with that.
I'd be cranking it up in the middle of a song because I seem to zero in on just this one lug.
Right.
And I just beat the shit out of it as well because everything's a rim shot. I just whacked the hell out of it. And I was just noticing he was dropping down. But since putting those on, maybe I'll. Maybe it's the snare.
Well, no, I think it is. They are meant to be good. And I think it's just a normal thing with drums. And especially if you're rim shotting, especially one particular area, it is obviously that's going to be the point where it's going to detune if at all. And I don't rim shot a lot these days. I kind of do it every now and again when I want to, but I try and kind of hit normally, which helps with sticks and stuff. But as long as I get a sound I want, and I use it for effect then, like a rim shot or whatever. But that's one thing about I've talked about in the past about the Sona drums is that they stay in tune way better than anything else I'm aware of. I think it's like some patented technology, so no one else can kind of copy it. Maybe someone will come up with something similar, but it's patented. So it's one of the massive benefits, even in the cheaper ranges. It's built into that, so it's really good for a touring drummer, for a studio. It's ideal. It's something that gets overlooked a lot, or people don't realize it exists really. But it's cool, man.
That sounds wicked. I'll have a look at that.
Right, so now it's time to do the quick fire round, if you're cool to do that. So just so people get to know you a little bit more. Nothing that exciting, to be honest. So do you like hot or cold weather the most?
Hot.
Me too.
Definitely.
Daytime or nighttime?
Daytime.
Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Interesting. Guitar or bass?
Guitar.
Okay. Nylon or wood tip drumsticks?
Oh, wood all day.
Cool. John Bonham or Neil Peart, whatever you.
All day, Peart. Yeah.
I say Peart, you say Peart. The Americans say Peart. So I try to please everyone. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've noticed that because I would always say, because the way it's spelled, Peart.
I thought it was Peart. Yeah.
I think it is, but I noticed Americans say Peart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. That's one thing I've noticed.
He is a god.
He is. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Clear or coated drum heads?
Coated.
Cool. Big or small venue?
Big, all day.
Favorite time signature to play?
4/4.
Yeah.
Standard.
Yeah. I don't think there's not a lot of punk music that isn't in 4/4. I don't know. There probably is, but most of it is.
Can't put a punk beat over swing. Like, we struggle with that all the time. There's loads of songs like, should we do Earth Angel and stuff? And just not Earth Angel, but 4/4.
4/4 is a one in it. Yeah, cool. So we've mentioned the social media tags for Punk Rock Factory. If people want to follow you personally, where can they find you?
At Kob PRF on Instagram. Yeah, on Insta mainly.
Just Insta mainly, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I'll obviously.
I'm one for promoting myself normally. I'm trying to get a bit more into it, but it's always me doing the posting for PRF and the other stuff really. So I only recently have started posting myself as it is. I always like to just keep my life quite private up until then.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I've mentioned this before. If I didn't have a band or a podcast to promote, I think I'd just delete everything.
Definitely.
It takes up so much. It takes up so much time, and it's handy.
Just think that you're out for dinner and should I put a picture up? But I just did. I do it for a living, but it makes my skin crawl sometimes. Just the fact you have to kind of I know. It's you got to play the game.
You got to play the game if you're in the game. If you want to benefit from it, I know it's silly, really. And I don't consume. I don't want to. I probably end up consuming as a result of. I got to post about this, and then you just scroll through some stuff, and I'm like, I've just wasted 10 minutes looking at. I don't need. This isn't benefiting my life by doing this, and there's some great stuff on there, obviously, and it's a great way to discover, things like the podcast and bands. So it's great that it exists, but for me, I'd rather be doing something else. So
I'm way more into Reddit. Reddit's way better. With Instagram and Facebook, you just see your friends and just kind of pictures of people's kids and shit like that. Whereas with Reddit, you're seeing the most viral stuff on the internet, really interesting, cool stuff, or fight videos. So that's a bit more me.
That's cool. I've never been on Reddit, apart from, I guess, maybe people linked something to me to check out specifically. I don't really know what it is, to be honest. I thought it was.
Get on it. Honestly, it's way, way better.
Yeah.
Because they call it the birthplace of the internet in the sense that if something goes big on Reddit, it'll go big everywhere else. So it kicks off there and then goes everywhere else. And we've done a lot of PRF stuff on Reddit as well. Reddit's always an extra place that I post my stuff to as well. So if it's drummers and stuff and you want to be sharing videos, definitely be using Reddit as well. Yeah,
I was going to say there's bound to be some form of drum community on there. So I'll have to.
It's all subreddits on there. So PRF example, we did a live video of King of the Hill, the theme tune.
Yeah.
So what I did was go on the subreddit of King of the Hill. So it's r/King of the Hill. I posted that video on there and it blew up on that subreddit because it was all King of the Hill fans. And then because it blew up there, it kind of spread out to the rest of the internet then. So if you're a drummer and you're doing, say, a cover video or something, find the subreddit for that. And also just general drummers, stuff like that. But it's good because you'll find a real kind of like-minded community as opposed to Facebook, which is everything. And you've got groups on Facebook still, but on Reddit, really drill down to serious nerds.
So I was going to say, because when I've tried that kind of technique within Facebook. For example, I had Vinny Appice on, he was in Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Found a load of Black Sabbath fan groups. You know, they're obviously a big band. They've got a big following. Posting, it was mainly YouTube links, which probably isn't the right thing to do. But didn't, you know, there was a few people liking, a few people commenting, but otherwise, it didn't blow up. I might have had a few
Just 'cause you're
hundred.
at the mercy of the algorithm, then. Like
Yeah.
you say, you put a YouTube link on Facebook, and they don't want you to leave the platform. They're trying to keep you there.
Yeah.
Whereas with Reddit, every piece of content gets judged fairly, kind of in the same way as TikTok. It's the same kind of thing that
Okay.
if people want to see it, as more people start reacting, they'll get to the top. Whereas with Insta and Facebook, you're at the mercy of them saying, no, we don't want you to leave the platform and stuff.
Cool. I'll have to, yeah, I'll have to explore
uploading
that.
a video natively to Facebook instead.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Instead of worrying about sending them over to there, upload them on Facebook as a page, not a group though. And then you'll get way more interaction. That's why I never post from Facebook out to YouTube.
Yeah, I guess that's probably what I'll have to do.
Yeah.
I guess I'm still trying to, push my views on YouTube, because I'm at that point where, you know, I'm trying to get the watch time hours and that. But yeah, I guess if it's not really resulting in many views, what's the point? Yeah, cool, man. I'll check that out. And people always mention it when, you know, it's, well, those guys on Reddit. I just never really explored it, but I'll do that, because if I can get some new fans out of that, that's great. Before we end, then this is the question I ask all my guests: if you could be in a band with yourself on drums, complete dream band, right? You can't include members of Punk Rock Factory. Who would you have playing the other? Who would you have playing the other instruments? Dead or alive? It could be anyone you want that has ever lived.
Paul Stanley.
Right.
It's got to be. I'm just gonna list Kiss.
Just Kiss. Literally just Kiss.
I'm thinking it's just Kiss. Yeah, maybe just like an amalgamation of Extreme and Kiss and Skid Row. Yeah, maybe Sebastian Bach on guitar and backing vocals, Paul Stanley on lead. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, good.
Oh no, and Geddy Lee on bass then. So then so then you just got them three. Just like love Paul Stanley and Geddy Lee singing together. That'd be epic.
That would be epic. And I mean, that's quite cool. You haven't chosen any kind of punk guys. That's cool. I wasn't sure which way you were going to go with that, you know. So, no, that's cool. That's obviously where your music tastes.
I really, like I got blooming Motley Crue lyrics there. I got Kiss all up my arm. Blooming Kiss lyrics there.
Nice.
It's just so much more to it. Like,
yeah.
I think as a drummer to play, I much prefer playing super duper fast stuff. But as a fan of music, really, and kind of like from a songwriting perspective and a musical perspective, it's just all about like Meat Loaf and epic vocalists and amazing harmonies and stuff like that. That's really kind of what I really love. Just love a good harmony.
Great. A little bonus question for you then, because I'm interested in myself. Who would you say were your top 5 favorite punk drummers?
Oh, Travis Barker would have to be.
Yeah.
Trey Cool as well.
Cool.
More so on the kind of the attitude. Like his playing's amazing, obviously, but he does his kind of own thing. I'm trying to think now. Blimmin'.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'm not sure of names. Like I know there's bands. I'm like, oh, their drummer's amazing, but I don't know their name and stuff like that. So I'm not very good with names in general.
Casey from Belvedere.
Okay.
He was somebody that I said you should get on because he is unbelievable. He's so good. He's been putting up drum playthroughs of their most recent album now. And like I grew up listening to Belvedere, and they actually had a different drummer at the time. So when I first kind of saw that they were with him, I was almost a bit like, oh yeah, who's this guy kind of stepping on the turf? But he is unbelievable.
Okay.
He's so good. He's just like, he's so effortless with his playing. Like I can't think of anyone who's as ridiculously fast as him, and he's so technical as well. Like he's talking about all his favorite drummers and the gear and stuff like that, and I've been asking him about pedals and stuff, and like I look at him and I'm like, he's a real drummer kind of to me. But you need to see some of his videos. The way he's playing, he's got his cymbals up here as well, which reminds me of like Saxon, like the
Oh,
drummer
yeah.
Saxon, up here, but he's just absolutely flying. And I'm like, Jesus
That's
Christ.
mad, isn't it? Because like I thought with speed, you want your cymbals as close as possible to the kit.
Yeah,
like
mine has slowly got closer and closer, so I can just,
yeah.
I don't have to move my wrist. But yeah, he's just, and you almost think he's thinking, what should I have for tea tonight? While he's just doing the single pedal and stuff, just rapid as well. I can watch his foot for hours. Crazy the stuff he's doing.
Awesome.
But yeah. Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden as well. Grew up drilling Maiden. Love him. The showmanship, everything about him.
He's not a punk rock drummer though, is he? Or was he? Or was he? Maybe, I don't know.
Just stand the kind of drummers, but yeah. And Smelly from NoFX as well. Like NoFX, obviously a massive influence on me growing up.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Sounds good. No, I was interested because it's not a world apart from the obvious bands. Like, I was massive. I was massive into Blink, and yeah, the kind of all the bands that got big, I was into them. The Offspring, Sum 41. Never massively into Green Day, but I know most of their material. I've never seen them live. I would go and see them live, but I just haven't seen them, unfortunately.
Tell you one amazing drummer actually that I've become really pretty obsessed with and watching him. The drummer of Machine Gun Kelly, this kid.
Oh yeah.
Tom. Jesus Christ. Like that guy, was he like, he's like 17, 18 or something. And he obviously Travis Barker played all the drums on a Machine Gun Kelly record. And I love that album. I drilled that album.
I was really impressed by it. Yeah.
He's now doing all the drums and he's like easily kind of as good as Travis Barker, I guess, with the stuff that he's doing. But his flair and the stuff that he's doing, I'm kind of studying him, and because that's the kind of stuff I love. I love watching these crazy arm drummers and like big fills, which a lot of people, like normal drummers, might look at those kind of double fills and be like, no, that's nothing. I want to see more Tony Royster kind of fills and stuff. But I love what he's doing, like double kick fills and spinning his sticks and stuff. But yeah, he's blowing my mind.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I've seen something about him recently. I've heard that album, which is Travis Barker, but what did you say?
Tosh Peterson,
Tosh Peterson. Okay, check him out.
Yeah, Tosh Peterson.
Cool, man. And another punk band I just reminded me I used to love is the Vandals. So like Josh Freese. Oh, yeah. Can't go wrong. But he obviously does a lot of other stuff as well. Very talented drummer. Would be a nice guest if he's ever wants to come on the podcast. He'd be pretty impressive to get on. He'd be a bit of a dream guest. But yeah, like I used to love that band. But yeah, not a huge amount of other kind of, I guess, punk bands I would say that I was like massively into. I don't know why. Just I've always liked the genre. I've always enjoyed it. It's just I never really explored, I guess, the slightly more underground or I guess less mainstream stuff. So
what about Goldfinger? Remember them? Darren?
Yeah, I remember them. I can't remember the drumming specifically, but I remember.
Is he? Really. Yeah. Just proper silly Billy, super fast, but like showmanship as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was wicked.
Nice. Sounds good. I'll check some of those guys out, and just good luck with the next release and whatever's to come. And hopefully I'll come and see you on tour. But yeah, we'll sort out that day in the studio with the pedals when you can fit me in. And thanks again, and hopefully good luck and best of all to your health, and hopefully you'll start feeling a lot better and continue to play and tour and get massive and tour the world, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you boys playing a show as well when all this gets back to normal, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait. But a few things to sort out first. But
I want to ask you some of that, but yeah, we can talk about that.
Talk about that another time. Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time to come on, and we'll speak to you soon. And yeah, cheers.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Cheers, buddy.
Drum for the Song Podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Drum for the Song Podcast. If you've enjoyed this, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, if you could leave me a review or leave a comment, that would be fantastic too. You can also follow me on social media at Drum for the Song or at Dane_drums. If you're on Facebook, you can search for Dane Campbell Drummer or join the Drum for the Song official Facebook group. If you'd like to support the podcast, you could consider buying some merchandise from drumforthesong.com or consider supporting me via Patreon for additional content. Any support like this is gratefully appreciated, but I would like to give extra special thanks to my top tier Groove Master patrons who are listed in the description below. Thanks so much for listening or watching this far, and if you're a drummer, don't forget to drum for the song.